think you're eating healthy, but what if some of the foods you trust most are silently clogging your arteries right now? If you're over 55, this isn't just about diet trends or weight, it's about blood flow, oxygen to your heart and brain, and how long your body can keep up before it sends a warning you can't ignore. Many people believe heart disease appears suddenly, a heart attack, a stroke, one bad day. But the truth is far quieter and far more dangerous. Arteries don't clog overnight. They narrow slowly, year after year, meal after meal, often while you feel completely fine. No pain, no symptoms, just silent damage building in the background. And here's the uncomfortable part. Some of the foods most adults over 55 eat because they think they're healthy may actually be speeding up that process. Let me tell you about a man named Robert. He was 62, walked every morning, never smoked, and proudly told his doctor he ate clean. Oatmeal for breakfast, low-fat snacks, whole grain toast, vegetable oils. Yet during a routine checkup, his doctor found advanced arterial plaque. Robert was shocked. "How is this possible?" he asked. "I've been doing everything right." That question is exactly why we're having this conversation. As we age, our bodies handle food differently, metabolism slows, hormones shift, blood vessels lose flexibility, inflammation rises more easily. A food that barely affected you at 35 can behave very differently at 55 or 65. It is not that these foods are instantly toxic. It is that over time, and in the aging body, they can quietly contribute to plaque buildup, insulin spikes, oxidative stress, and chronic inflammation inside the arteries. Let's start with one of the biggest surprises. Many adults over 55 rely heavily on refined carbohydrates that are marketed as heart healthy. Things like white bread, crackers, low-fat cereals, rice cakes, and even some whole grain products. On the surface, they look harmless, no cholesterol, low fat, sometimes even labeled as good for the heart. But here's what happens inside the body. Refined carbs break down quickly into sugar. That sugar floods the bloodstream, causing repeated blood sugar spikes. Over time, these spikes damage the delicate lining of your arteries, called the endothelium. Once that lining is irritated, cholesterol and inflammatory cells can more easily stick to the artery walls, starting the plaque building process. In people over 55, insulin sensitivity is often reduced. That means your body struggles more to manage sugar properly. So every spike lasts longer, causing more damage than it would in a younger person. Even whole grain products can behave like sugar if they're highly processed. Now add this to something most people don't realize. When blood sugar spikes repeatedly, your liver responds by producing more triglycerides. High triglycerides are strongly linked to arterial plaque and heart disease. So even if your cholesterol numbers don't look terrible, your arteries may still be under attack. Next comes another shocker: vegetable oils. For decades, we were told to replace butter with vegetable oils like corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, and canola oil. They were promoted as heart-healthy alternatives. And yes, they don't contain cholesterol, but cholesterol is not the full story. These oils are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. In small amounts, omega-6 fats are normal and necessary, but modern diets overload the body with them, especially in people over 55 who eat packaged foods, restaurant meals, or fried snacks. Too much omega-6 creates chronic inflammation, and inflammation is one of the main drivers of plaque buildup in arteries. It makes plaque unstable and more likely to rupture, which is what causes heart attacks and strokes. There's another issue. These oils are chemically fragile. When heated, reused, or stored for long periods, they oxidize. Oxidized fats create free radicals in the body. Free radicals directly damage artery walls and accelerate aging from the inside out. So, if you re-cooking daily with vegetable oils or consuming foods made with them, even if the label says heart-friendly, your arteries may be paying the price. Now let's talk about something many older adults eat every single morning: fruit juice. Orange juice, apple juice, mixed fruit blends. They seem natural. Vitamins, antioxidants, no fat. What could be wrong? The problem is what's missing: fiber. When you drink fruit juice, you get a concentrated dose of fructose without the fiber that slows absorption. This causes rapid blood sugar spikes, sometimes worse than soda. Fructose is processed by the liver, and excessive intake increases fat production in the liver, raises triglycerides, and promotes insulin resistance. Over time, this metabolic stress contributes to arterial plaque, especially in people over 55 whose livers are already working harder than they used to. Whole fruit behaves very differently, juice does not. Another common offender hiding in plain sight is low-fat and fat-free packaged foods. Low-fat yogurt, fat-free salad dressings, reduced-fat snacks. When fat is removed, manufacturers often replace it with sugar, starches, and additives to keep the food tasting good. These ingredients spike blood sugar, increase inflammation, and disrupt gut health, all of which affect arterial health. Healthy fats are not the enemy. In fact, certain fats help reduce inflammation and improve cholesterol balance. Removing them while increasing sugar is one of the worst trades for aging arteries. And then there's processed meats. Many people over 55 rely on deli meats, sausages, hot dogs, or cured meats for convenience and protein. Even when eaten occasionally, these foods contain compounds that promote inflammation and oxidative stress. Some also raise blood pressure by increasing sodium load, putting more strain on already stiffening arteries. The damage doesn't come from one sandwich. It comes from years of repeated exposure while arteries are becoming more vulnerable with age. Here's the most important thing to understand so far. Arterial clogging is not just about cholesterol. It's about inflammation, blood sugar control, fat oxidation, and how aging changes the body's ability to repair itself. You can have normal cholesterol and still have narrowing arteries. You can feel healthy and still be building plaque. You can eat foods labeled as healthy and unknowingly speed up the process. One of the most overlooked contributors to clogged arteries after 55 is something many people rely on for energy, comfort, or routine: dairy, especially low-fat or processed dairy products. Milk, flavored yogurt, cheese slices, and creamers are often seen as calcium-rich and good for bones. And calcium is important, but the form and context matter more as we age. Many dairy products contain saturated fat, added sugars, and in some cases inflammatory proteins that can trigger low-grade inflammation in sensitive individuals. As arteries age, they become more prone to calcification, a process where calcium deposits harden artery walls. This doesn't mean calcium itself is bad, but excess calcium combined with inflammation and poor vitamin K balance can contribute to stiff, less flexible arteries. That stiffness increases blood pressure and makes plaque more dangerous. Flavored yogurts are especially problematic. A single serving can contain as much sugar as a dessert. That sugar feeds inflammation, raises triglycerides, and cancels out most of the benefits people think they're getting. Another food that often surprises people is breakfast cereal, even the healthy ones. Many cereals marketed to older adults contain refined grains, added sugars, and highly processed ingredients. They digest quickly, spike blood sugar, and leave you hungry again soon after. That cycle of spike and crash stresses the arteries repeatedly, day after day. Even cereals labeled as whole grain can be misleading. If the texture is soft, puffed, or flakes easily dissolve in milk, it's likely processed enough to act like sugar in the body. Over time, this contributes to insulin resistance, one of the strongest drivers of arterial disease in older adults. Let's talk about another so-called health food: protein bars and meal replacement shakes. They're convenient. They promise balanced nutrition. And many adults over 55 use them to eat lighter, But many of these products are ultra-processed and loaded with artificial sweeteners, refined oils, and hidden sugars. Artificial sweeteners don't spike blood sugar directly, but they disrupt gut bacteria. A damaged gut increases systemic inflammation, which directly affects the arteries. Some sweeteners also increase cravings, leading to more processed food consumption later in the day. Your arteries don't care if calories come from a bar or a plate. They care about inflammation, oxidative stress, and metabolic balance. Now here's a big one people rarely suspect: excessive salt from healthy packaged foods. Soups, canned beans, vegetable juices, and frozen meals are often seen as smart choices, but many contain high levels of sodium. Over time, excess sodium increases blood pressure, stiffens artery walls, and damages the endothelial lining, especially in older adults whose kidneys don't regulate sodium as efficiently as they once did. High blood pressure doesn't just strain the heart. It physically injures arteries from the inside, making them more vulnerable to plaque buildup. Another daily habit that quietly affects arterial health is constant snacking. Even if the snacks are small, frequent eating keeps insulin elevated. Insulin tells the body to store fat and reduces the body's ability to burn it. Chronically high insulin promotes inflammation and accelerates plaque formation. As we age, our bodies benefit more from clear breaks between meals, allowing insulin to drop and repair processes to occur. Constant grazing works against that. Now let's talk about something emotional: comfort foods. Many adults over 55 grew up associating certain foods with safety, family, or routine. White toast, mashed potatoes, pasta, baked goods. These foods aren't evil, but in an aging body, large portions of refined starches behave like sugar. They raise blood glucose, increase triglycerides, and promote fat storage inside the arteries. Over time, this creates a perfect environment for plaque to grow. There's also the issue of seed oils hidden in restaurant food. Even if you cook healthy meals at home, eating out exposes you to large amounts of oxidized vegetable oils. These oils are heated repeatedly at high temperatures, making them especially inflammatory. For someone over 55, regular exposure adds up fast. Now let's pause and connect the dots. Aging arteries are more sensitive. Inflammation is easier to trigger. Blood sugar is harder to control. Repair mechanisms slow down, so foods that once seemed harmless slowly become harmful, not because you're weak, but because your biology has changed. This is why many heart problems appear out of nowhere later in life. The damage has been building silently for years. But here's the hopeful part: arteries are not passive pipes. They are living tissue. When you reduce inflammation, stabilize blood sugar, and remove constant stressors, the body can begin to stabilize plaque and improve function. By now, you may be wondering something important. If so many everyday foods can quietly harm arteries after 55, how do you know which habits are hurting you the most? The answer isn't perfection, it's patterns. Arterial plaque builds when the body is exposed to the same stress signals over and over: inflammation, sugar spikes, oxidative damage, and constant insulin elevation. You don't need to eliminate everything. You need to reduce the signals that tell your arteries to stay inflamed. One of the clearest red flags in an aging diet is how often blood sugar rises throughout the day. If most meals are built around refined carbs, bread, rice, pasta, cereal, baked goods, arteries rarely get a break. Each spike slightly damages the inner lining, making it easier for plaque to form. A simple shift makes a powerful difference. Prioritize protein, fiber, and healthy fats first, and let starches play a smaller supporting role. This slows digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and reduces arterial stress without extreme restriction. Another key issue is fat quality, not fat quantity. When you replace processed vegetable oils with more stable fats, you reduce oxidative damage inside the arteries. Stable fats don't break down easily when heated, which means fewer free radicals attacking blood vessels. Over time, this can reduce inflammation and help plaque become more stable and less dangerous. Stability matters more than labels. Fiber is another missing piece for many adults over 55. Fiber binds excess cholesterol, feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and reduces inflammation. When fiber intake is low, especially due to reliance on processed foods, the body struggles to clear harmful particles from the bloodstream. Whole vegetables, legumes in moderation, nuts, seeds, and whole fruits provide fiber that works with aging biology, not against it. Hydration also plays a larger role than most people think. Dehydration thickens the blood, making it harder to flow through narrowed arteries. Many older adults feel less thirsty, so they drink less without realizing it. Proper hydration supports circulation and reduces strain on the heart. Now let's talk about stress, because food and stress are deeply connected. Chronic stress raises cortisol. High cortisol increases blood sugar and inflammation, even if your diet is decent. Emotional eating during stress often involves refined carbs and comfort foods, compounding the problem. Creating regular meal times, slowing down while eating, and avoiding constant snacking helps regulate hormones that directly affect arterial health. Another overlooked factor is sleep. Poor sleep disrupts blood sugar regulation and increases inflammatory markers. Over time, this accelerates plaque buildup. Many people focus on food but ignore sleep, even though both affect the same biological pathways. Now here's the most important mindset shift. After 55, your body responds faster to positive changes than you might expect. Reducing inflammatory foods doesn't just prevent future damage. It can improve how you feel within weeks. Better energy, clearer thinking, improved circulation, less pressure on the heart. This is why small, consistent changes matter more than drastic diets that don't last. Replace sugary breakfasts with protein-rich meals. Swap processed snacks for whole foods. Reduce vegetable oils and ultra-processed products. Limit refined carbs without eliminating joy from eating. These changes lower inflammation signals and give your arteries room to breathe. Remember, clogged arteries aren't caused by one bad food. They're caused by repeated biological stress over time. When that stress is removed, the body often responds with resilience, even later in life. You don't need fear, you need awareness. Food should support your blood flow, not silently restrict it. Your arteries have been working for you every second of your life. Giving them the right environment after 55 isn't about restriction, it's about protection. For years, many people over 55 have done exactly what they were told. They chose low fat, they avoided butter, they trusted labels that promised heart health. And yet, arteries continued to narrow, blood pressure quietly rose, and energy slowly declined. That wasn't failure, it was misinformation colliding with an aging body. The truth is, your body is not broken, it has simply changed. What once worked may no longer protect you the same way. And the moment you understand that, everything shifts from fear to control. Clogged arteries are not a life sentence, they are a signal. A signal that your body needs less inflammation, steadier blood sugar, better fats, more fiber, deeper rest, and fewer daily assaults from ultra-processed foods. When those signals improve, arteries respond, blood flows easier, pressure drops, and the heart doesn't have to work as hard just to keep up. This isn't about chasing perfection or cutting out everything you love. It's about choosing foods that work with your biology after 55 instead of against it. Small, consistent changes, repeated daily, are more powerful than any short-term diet or quick fix. If this message made you look at your plate differently today, that awareness alone is powerful. Because the earlier you reduce the silent stress on your arteries, the more years of strong circulation, clear thinking, and independence you give yourself. Your future health isn't decided by one meal. It's shaped by the patterns you choose moving forward. And now that you know which healthy foods may not be helping anymore, you can finally start eating in a way that truly protects your heart.